Hello and welcome to diverCity. I'm Vincent Manencourt.
And I'm Liana Kajarova.
This week's top stories are
the NFL fan rally at Trafalgar Square,
the Indian festival Diwali in London,
faculty strike,
and the biggest storm London's seen in the past 20 years.
And now to our first story. Thousands are going homeless in London for various reasons, and among them, the expensive rents.
Now the London Assembly is calling for more social housing to be built in order to address the problem. Ryan Chua reports.
Night time in central London, as some parts of the city continued to buzz with activity. Manuel Santos found a quiet place to sleep outside this restaurant on Adelaide Street. He's been homeless for a week now after being evicted from his flat at Westbourne Park.
I couldn't pay bills and it accumulated and accumulated, and then in the end they just gave me a date and that was it. It's very cold, and then when you get up your bones kind of ache, your back hurts and your legs hurt.
He stayed with friends for a few nights, but he says they told him they could only do so much to help. Officials and experts point to unaffordable housing as one of the main causes of homelessness, underscoring the need for more social housing. Now, the London Assembly's Housing Committee proposes that local councils be allowed to borrow more money from the government to build affordable houses, and that these houses not be sold to private landlords who tend to lease them at expensive rates. The committee and the Greater London Authority are one in pushing for the recommendations.
And one of the things that we need to do most urgently is to lift the cap on councils being able to borrow to build, so that we can access, so that they can play a full part in delivering the housing that we need to solve the crisis. We want to keep hold of those properties in the social rented sector. We don't want councils building new properties only for them then to be a few years later sold on. We want to keep them in the social rented sector.
Thousands of homeless individuals slept on London streets in the past year as average rents continued to rise. Michael Street left his girlfriend's house after breaking up with her. Unable to find an affordable flat, he ended up sleeping rough.
Unless you're earning £2,000 a week, you never get a flat. It's very expensive.
London's government has several measures to aid the homeless, such as the No Second Night Out project, which aims to ensure rough sleepers won't spend a second night on the streets. Various charities also have projects for the homeless, but Manuel says he has been unable to find any help.
I want to be seen by someone that may be, I don't know, part of the government or part of whatever, but apparently no one cares.
Now homeless and jobless, Manuel says he no longer knows what the future holds for him. The only certain thing for him now is that the next day, he'll be out on the streets again, wandering aimlessly. Ryan Chua reporting.
Staff at universities across the UK, including City University, went on strike on Thursday in a dispute over pay.
The faculty, who are the part of the union, walked out on classes and took to the streets to voice their demands. Sofia reports.
I am Sofia Bettiza, and I'm standing outside of Conway Hall, where university and college teachers are striking. Salaries are at the heart of the strike. This year, teachers have been offered a 1% pay rise, and they say that is simply not good enough.
Teachers all over the UK took to the streets on Thursday, causing the most widespread disruption for years. In London, every university had picket lines.
If you work in higher education and you care about your students, you have one choice, and your choice is this. You stand up for those students. If you want to stand up for those students, you do it on a picket line with your colleagues. That's how we fight.
Nearly 150 institutions were affected. At City University, classes were cancelled and the library was shut down. SOAS, Goldsmiths and Birkbeck University were closed.
Yeah, I think there was more staff that we've ever seen on strike at City in recent years. The library closed at 1 o'clock today. We know lectures were cancelled. We know many staff did not come in. and we know there's been a maximum disruption at the university, and we're sorry to the students who that's impacted on, but we've had to take this course of action.
City University Students' Union supports the strike. They say that it is not in our interest that teachers are stressed out or demoralised.
I'll tell you one thing. If you go into a negotiation and you go with a bloody big stick, they tend to listen to you a lot more than if you go into a negotiation and you sit on your hands.
Tuition fees in the UK have increased dramatically in the past few years, and yet teachers' wages keep decreasing. So where is the money going?
The Vice-Chancellor at our university earns £281,000 a year. He's recruited very many academics for the Research Excellent Framework at expensive salaries. There's obviously other building works.
So what's next? More action, say the unions. Maybe as soon as November. Sofia Bettiza, diverCity News, London.
Do you know the difference between football and American football?
On Saturday, London played host to an NFL rally. Laura and Jade have this report.
Alright, we're here at Trafalgar Square for the NFL Fan Club Festival, and we have around us a lot of different fans for the 49ers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. So we're going to check out all the things that the fan club has to offer for us. Can I get the face paint?
Yeah.
Yeah? Can you do 49ers?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I wish I knew more about football.
Okay, we are.
I'm branding myself.
We're going to make some noise, okay? We're going to play.
I'm getting glittered up here.
3 things essential for every American football event. 1.
You need a drink. You need to tailgate. You need to turn up at the tailgating tomorrow. Drink more.
Drink beer while you're watching the game.
You need to be able to have alcohol here.
So you can't drink beer while watching. Hey!
You can't drink beer while watching soccer ball.
You can't?
No.
I never knew that.
I think what I've gathered so far, it's not actually about sports. It's about drinking.
Big men, really big men. Where are the players? Will they be here? Can we talk to them?
All right, so the Jacksonville Jaguars just got here. Jake got a little confused, high-fived the wrong team. We were going to make this right at some point.
Because the fact they came through the crowd, that's the first year that a team's done that, and that was amazing.
The real question is, where's the 49ers?
Can I get a rock? Yeah! I found some Jacksonville fans. Doing pretty well. I'm still trying to understand American football now, because I'm from Germany. And when we say football, we're talking about a game that's played with your feet and it's a ball. So I'm really confused how you can call it football.
I think we stole the name from you.
You stole our name, yeah.
So let's just be clear here. You're from England,
Yeah.
but you think the real football is American football?
I do indeed, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's the truth right there.
Do you think it's going to be any different tomorrow in the game compared to games at home?
Well, I got to figure out how the British tailgate.
Right.
So if you tailgate right, then we'll have a good time.
Can you guys sing the American national anthem?
Then you see by the dawn's early light what a brand
Do you want to ride your bicycle to school in the morning but don't want to turn up all sweaty and out of breath?
Then the new electric bicycles in North London might be your thing. Magnus has this report.
That's the sound of a bicycle wheel powered by an 8-kilo battery. In London, we will hear that sound a lot more in the future. Last week, the Mayor of London, Boris Johnson, and the City Council in Haringey announced that the borough in North London will introduce a rental bike scheme similar to the so-called Boris bikes. But in Haringey, it will be electric bikes, or simply e-bikes. Piers Metcalf, who owns the electric bike store, says an e-bike is almost like a regular two-wheeler.
Well, I guess it's similar to regular bikes. There's not really a huge difference there because it is a regular bike, but just with powered assistance through it.
In the UK, less than 1% of all bikes sold runs on electricity. In Germany, it's more than 9%. And in Holland, it's almost 1 out of 5. On the streets of Haringey, people welcome the idea of e-bikes. But one thing is a brand new bike with a motor to help you through traffic. Another is the fear of accidents. 122 cyclists died in London last year, the highest number in 5 years. For many, riding a bicycle in London is simply too dangerous.
There's not enough cycle lanes, and that causes a lot of friction between cars and bicycles, and they get a bit too close.
I don't really like going on bikes because of me having to ride in the roads, and I fear of the traffic.
It might be easier to ride your bike when it's an e-bike, and it might be better for the environment than a car, but the main issue still remains: safety on the road. I'm Magnus Barter, London.
Diwali, the Festival of Lights, one of the most important festivals of the year for Hindus. It is celebrated in family homes by performing traditional activities.
The second best option was to go to Trafalgar Square this Sunday. Sarakshi Rai has this report.
We're here at the Diwali festival in Trafalgar Square with thousands of Londoners who have come out to celebrate despite the hurricane warning.
Trafalgar Square was transformed into a mini Mumbai this Sunday as thousands of Londoners gathered to celebrate Diwali.
Hi folks, I'm Boris Johnson, I'm the Mayor of London, and once again we are celebrating Diwali, the triumph of light.
To everyone's disappointment, Boris didn't attempt any Indian dancing of his own, but there were many talented dance troupes on hand to entertain the crowds. Smells of authentic Indian cuisine filled the air all day, and the queue to sample specialities like dosa and bel puri never once went down.
Yeah, it's just like back home. Yeah, it's like Mumbai. Yeah.
Dancers and musicians kept the party going well into the evening, and for London's Indian community, it was a real taste of home.
It was a fun day from us here at Diwali, and I'm Sarakshi Rai from Trafalgar Square.
How often do you check your phone? 5 times per day? 10 times?
We sent our reporter Laura to find out how dependent people are on their phones.
We truly live in an internet age. People are becoming more and more dependent on this, being connected to the internet at all times.
34 times a day. That is how often people turn to their internet-connected devices every day. The research agency Firefish conducted a survey using fisheye cameras to see how much time is spent on smartphones, tablets, and laptops. The answer? Over 2 hours a day are spent online. Waiting, walking, drinking coffee, the mobile phone is a constant companion, and multitasking is a trend. In half the cases, more than one device is used at the same time. Not being connected makes many people nervous.
I would get anxious without my phone if I didn't have it for the day, yeah.
I haven't had my phone all day and I've been alright-ish.
It just comes a bit of a natural instinct to have a look at your phone to see if there's anything going on.
And it has become an addiction for many. People's inability to leave their phones alone is called Nomophobia, or short, Nomophobia. The UK Post Office found out that half the mobile phone users tend to suffer from the condition.
People see the phone not really as a sort of external media, they see it as an extension of themselves, and this fear of losing part of yourself can lead to all sorts of anxieties, hence the phrase nomophobia.
So if you think that you might have nomophobia, there are psychologists that specialize in the field. In the meanwhile, it might not hurt to turn your phone off for just a day or two. This is Laura Gurla here in London.
On Monday, the UK saw one of the worst storms in 20 years.
Our intrepid reporter Magnus braved the storm to examine the damages around the campus.
Brace yourselves.
So we're here Monday morning, the day after the worst storm in 5 years in the UK, and we are witnessing the damages. The sky is still kind of grey, clouded, you can sense the wind in the trees, but this storm, the worst, seems to be over. This guy will not be driving nor speeding on his way to work. His Peugeot is badly damaged.
Experts say that the damages caused by the storm could cost insurance companies up to £500 million. City University escaped the storm without serious damages, but the signs of the storm were visible all around Northampton Square. But for students, the worst was probably that Danish cafe in the park in front of the main entrance remained closed for the day.
Thank you for tuning in this week. Join us next week on diverCity.
I'm Vincent Manencourt.
And I'm Liana Kajarova.
See you next week.